Hi, it's Paul, and in this video I'm an old man with a leak on a waste pipe. As I've often said in many of my other videos, this is experience, not expertise, and it's a little story of tracing and resolving a leak in a waste pipe from what transpired to be the ensuite bathroom in my house. So let's go and have a look. Story begins yesterday when my wife looked up at the living room ceiling and said, "What's that mark?" That mark, on closer examination, turned out to be some evidence of some sort of leak from above. So let's get the tools out. And above in this instance is an ensuite shower basin and WC and an airing cupboard. Oh, whoop-de-doo. So what I've got then, it's a leak somewhere underneath the bathroom or airing cupboard, which is what's behind this wall. And somewhere under there's a leak that's just come through and stained the ceiling. Oh, hang on, just jumping in on the edit because I just realised I didn't say anything about how the hole appeared in the floor and the tiles were taken off. So essentially, I took the tile off the top of the boxing, which is over the soil pipe and the waste pipe. You'll see that in a minute. And then I cut a hole in the tongue and groove chipboard floor with my multi-tool, and that's where we are at now. And hopefully you can see that down in the hole is the main waste pipe, the soil pipe from the toilet, which is next to me, and a waste pipe that actually comes from right the way around here behind this bit of floorboard that I've got lying, and it comes from this basin and this shower. It runs in this boxing down at the bottom of the ensuite bathroom, and then into that boxing, that huge boxing, and then inside that huge boxing is the soil pipe from WC, and then behind it is the waste pipe. But why doesn't it run into the soil pipe, you ask? I've got no clue. And all this is going to get ripped out in the next few months because we want to redo the ensuite. But for the moment, I need to deal with this leak, and that looks suspiciously crusty. And there underneath it, directly underneath it, is the screw coming through the ceiling to prove that that is the centre of my stain mark. So I can be reasonably confident that that is the offending article, that's what's been leaking, and that's where my problem is. So that's what I'm going to fix. So what I've done is I've put a wood screw, a long wood screw, I don't know, about 4" 100mm, 10 centimetre, whatever you want to call it, through right in the middle of the stain patch. And I'm going to go and check under the floor upstairs now and see if that's actually where it's come through, to prove to myself that I am looking at what I think is the problem. So I'm going to try and get an angle on the pipe with the forward facing camera. I can only just see it, but yeah, there's the underside of the pipe. You can see it's well crusty, so my guess is it's been leaking for a while. So I'll swap to the normal camera now, trying to get a shot of where the screw comes through. Pull back from it a bit so you can see the screw over there, and you can see it's actually pitted the plasterboard where it's been dripping on it. So my guess is it's been doing it for some time. Doesn't really matter, it's only just evidenced itself whether it's been doing it for a long time or not. And the important job now is to fix it. So I've got to get off that elbow and replace it, and let's go from there. So I guess now might be a good time to try and explain what I think went wrong. So this is a view from directly beneath the hole where the pipe drops through, and you can see that the elbow above it sits out of line with the hole through the floor. So with the aid of this fabulous PowerPoint presentation, what you can see on the left here is a pipe sitting correctly in the socket, where it sits central to the O-ring and seals properly and sits central to the socket and has room to move. And on the right, it's canted over, it's exaggerated, but you can see the bottom of the pipe is pushing against the side of the socket. And what that does is the top end of it is now pulled away from the O-ring on the left-hand side, and that's giving you the potential for a leak. So here's the elbow I took off with another random bit of pipe that I had in the garage. I've had a look on the Marley website because it's a Marley extrusions fitting, and I can't find anything that gives me a tolerance for out of alignment fitting. So we'll say that it shouldn't be fitted out of line. And the problem was exactly that the top elbow was out of line with the bottom elbow, so the pipe was canted over that way. And not only that, it was the same when it went onward to join in with the soil pipe. It was actually bent that way, so it was never going to be anywhere near right. Everything was out with it, and the result was that this was the one that leaked. There's probably actually nothing wrong with the O-ring. It certainly feels okay given that it's 25 years old, but as you can see, it leaked, and it leaked because it was out of line. So in order to start the repair, the first thing I did was got a hole cutter bigger than the diameter of the existing hole, and I made the hole in the floor bigger so that the pipe was going to go through without any interference. Here's the crescent shaped bit that came out of the hole cutter afterwards to show what happened. Then I reassembled the existing pipework but with a new elbow, and here you can see a couple of shots that hopefully show it's now much more central to the hole and thus not interfering. Here's one from the top, and you can see kind of daylight all round it. While I'd got the pipework apart, I noticed the ends weren't finished particularly well, and this can damage the O-ring as you reassemble it. So once I'd figured that out, I got my pipe reaming tool and remade the ends of all the pipes that I could get to. So this is how the cleaned up ends looked before I reassembled all the pipework back together. So all that done, I reassembled the pipework, put it all back together, fitted another bracket on the end of that last horizontal run because I wasn't happy about the pipe hanging from just the elbow. And then I leak tested it for probably about half an hour with hot and cold taps running from both the wash basin and the shower. And it was all perfectly okay. And it's actually now about 2 weeks on since I did the job, although at the start of the video it was yesterday. It's actually not. And to round up, there's a couple of things that I want to sort of consider. One is, if you look across YouTube, there are a huge number of tradesmen making videos where they kick off about DIY Dave and shoddy work and all the rest of it. I'm a DIYer, although I've got some background in the industry long time ago. This original pipework was put together by a professional, a builder employed by the construction company that built our house. I know this because we moved in the day it was completed. No one else has lived there. I've not had that pipework apart. So the pipework was put together by a professional paid by the building company to assemble and install the pipework. So you could say, oh, well, cowboy builder. Whatever. There are good and bad in amongst professionals. There are good and bad in amongst DIYers. My view of it these days is quite simple. I want something that's going to last basically as long as I do. I'm late 60s now. we're unlikely to leave this house now before we move on or whatever, or end up in a nursing home or whatever we do. So I want it to last, because put another 10 years on myself, I don't want to be doing this again. Yes, we are going to rip it all out within the next 6 or 7 months, because we're going to refit the entire ensuite. So a little bit of what I've just said is academic, but I'm kind of looking to future-proof my work against failure as best I can. As it happens, when I replace it, I'll replace it with solvent weld, because my preference is for solvent weld over push fit or the screw-on compression type fittings. But that's a personal thing. So make what you want of the quality of the work, who it was done by. I know that people on site work, people on employment for big contractors are pressured into doing the work as fast as possible. Can I comment on their professionalism? No, and I wouldn't want to. If you want to make judgments, then crack on. Other than that, hope some of what you've seen has been of help. Apologies for not filming the bit of testing and the final assembly, but I'm old and a DIYer and not a professional creator or influencer, so I sometimes forget to video bits or photograph it and end up scrabbling around for bits after the event. There you have it. But if you're still here, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.